Hi Libra. So we're going to have a look at the new moon in Aquarius coming up on the 21st of January for New Zealand and Australia, and the 22nd for the rest of the world. So this new moon, a new moon energy is it really sets the energy for the month ahead, and so we're going to be looking at what this time is covering is from, like I said, the 20th, 21st, 22nd to the 19th, 20th of February, when we come into the next new moon for Pisces. So this new moon is in Aquarius at 3 degrees, and the first obvious thing with this new moon is it's conjuncting Pluto. So Pluto, the planet of powerful transformation through slow but sure breakdown of the old, is connecting up to our sun moon. So it's sort of allowing us to take a sort of look at what we're needing to clear, what we're needing to address for our future, especially when it comes to our own personal control, because the Sun-Pluto combination, is very much about personal control, where we sometimes take more power or control, move into more leadership situations, or from the other side of it, more negatively expressed, where we can feel suppressed or controlled by others. With the Moon-Pluto combination, that's where we feel this emotional pull towards a certain objective. It's when we can feel extreme. It's an extreme expression of feeling, Moon-Pluto, and we can feel driven towards a particular objective or goal. It's where we can just place a specific area, place our mind or our energy into a specific area and just focus on that, and with the exclusion of other things. So it's very relative to it's also very deep for psychic work, but it's also very relative to, say, when we're doing deep research work, or when we maybe artistry, or even writing, in any area where we're just focused on this particular area and needing to be left alone. So Moon Pluto is quite a deep connection, but it's also a time where we can, a lot of deeper understandings can come as well as deep psychic experiences and realizations. But the other side of the Moon Pluto is that impulsive reactional space where, like I said, the extreme expression of feeling that can be, turn into like an emotional upset or extreme outbursts of emotion, personal insults, offended jealousy, that sort of thing can come about through that Moon Pluto if we don't have the right understandings. So Pluto is actually, what I feel with it, we've got the combination Sun, Moon, and we've got Pluto, and then we've got Pluto, the Sun, Moon, Pluto squaring the nodes. So we have the South Node and the North Node. Now these node points are all about our friendships, our connections, our relationships, our family, our associations on a whole, no matter what nature. And because we have Sun, Moon, Pluto node, what we have is our inner and our outer worlds, connecting to this powerhouse, this point of fate that is, pushing changes for us and squaring our connections, making changes to our connections and our social interactions. So fated connections are going to be very important during this time. This Pluto square node is going on, for a while. But and we'll be continuing on, just like we've had Uranus conjuncting node for quite a while. So we do have a lot going on to do with connections coming in and out and changing our life. But with the Sun Moon there, it's sort of saying, okay, this is highlighted, which means that this time is highlighted. So fated changes through others is sort of the whole thing with this Sun, Moon, Pluto node. And the positions that you have for Libra, you have it in your 5th sector for your Sun, Moon, and that is your place to do with your children, and it's also where what you find, what you do for entertainment, what you do for socializing, what you do for fun, really. So that Sun Moon there, it sort of makes it a good month for you to feel motivated to do a lot, especially out in the social sector of things, and also with family and children. Now it's conjuncting your Pluto in the 4th, so there may have been some situations or issues or changes going on around family, around your children, but also around your home situation, and that could have been changing circumstances. This area to do with home and also to do with your children area, is sort of going to be looked at, over this month of, again, changes of whether children are moving in, or whether they're moving out, or whether you're moving in. Or, it just feels like that's going to be the focus, or it could be about security and property for family for the future. Now it's also squaring this node, like I said, the fated changes, which is in your 8th and 2nd. So your north node, which is the placement of where you're wanting to go, sitting in your 8th sector. This would be a great time for Libra to be looking at investments. Libra are very good with making money. They're ruled by Venus. Venus is all about love and money. And, it's sort of, you've got a good light shining on these qualities at the moment, where if you're interested in either business or investing some money or putting it into sort of like a trust, the 8th sector, relates to family trusts. It also relates to, any area where, we have money but we can't access it, but it's sort of like, yes, we're going to get that one day. It also relates to inheritance sort of thing, and also relates to family at that level, or what they've accumulated. So, with the node sitting in that placement, there does seem to be some, issues, situations really coming up to do with, like I said, those areas of money and security, but not what you can access immediately. You have the south node in the 2nd, so past life connections can come in at this time as well and be really important in your life, and you might find that you're actually going into some sort of financial investment again with these soul connections. So anyone you're going into investments with, properties, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a very strong connection connecting to your past lives. So Mercury has been sitting in your 4th sector. It's still sitting there, and it's going direct over this period of time, over this week. So it's sort of been going back and forth over your home situation. So it's sort of like you might be thinking back and forth over your home situation, where, how are you feeling about the home situation? Do you want to do improvements? Maybe you sort of want to spend more time in the home situation, but, work or other things have been pulling you away from that. But, focus is going to be on the home and what you're doing with home, or, again, property. But I feel like this is more about, if you have more than one property, this is more about the home you live in. So with Mercury there, like I said, some decisions could be made to do with property, and especially purchasing property, where we've got Mercury squaring Jupiter, and Jupiter sitting in your 7th, your position of partnerships, and Mercury in your 4th, position of home. So, Mercury Jupiter is all about agreements, agreeable connections, moving forward within new ideas, and that you can move forward with it. It's going to be for your productive growth. But it's also about, signing of agreements and, paperwork, or communicating with others how you want to move forward. With it in the 4th and 7th, it's like with a partner, you're going to be looking at either purchasing property or making changes, or maybe moving in. You and a partner might decide to live together if you haven't been doing that already, or be just making some decisions together relative to the home. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you're signing some paperwork, especially in that powerful position of the 4th and the 7th, around this during this month, and especially while the Mercury square is happening from the 18th to the 24th. It continues on for a little bit after that as well, because Mercury is going really slow. What else is we're talking about here for your astrology? So you've got sudden sort of changes or news that that could be happening around sort of the 2nd week of February here, with this. There's a Sun square Uranus, and Uranus has been sitting in the 8th. But again, I feel like with the 8th position and the Sun, we're still talking about either you doing something quite different to what you would normally do, that's more like going into a situation where you're doing something a lot more creative, a lot more, it's like you've got this real creative inspiration around that time, I should say. And you might do something, like you might work in the entertainment industry. So like whatever it is, it's sort of entertaining or entertainment. But with this Uranus in the 8th, again, it's like you could have access to some extra money or extra situations that can really help you out to utilize these creative ideas, but really strong creative inspiration around that time. And then you've got Mercury conjuncting Pluto, and this is happening around I think it's around the second week. Oh, I lost that. Sorry. Mercury's conjuncting Pluto, and that's going to be in your 4th sector, and that's around the 6th of February. So sort of around the same time. I'm sorry, the 10th of February, and it's so around the 10th of February. Let me start again. Around the 10th of February, Mercury conjuncts Pluto in your 4th sector, and this is when you're going to get the sudden inspiration, the new ideas of what you're wanting to do, especially around home, property, and where you're living. But you're also going to get to you'll be communicating it to others. It's not like just something you come up with and you don't share it. It's like you've got to convince others. Mercury Pluto is all about convincing others. It's all about you're having great ideas, big plans, but also convincing others of these plans. So there will definitely be communication about change and changes around property during this time around the 10th of Feb. So let's have a look, Libra, at your tarot for the next 4 weeks and see what else we can see. I'm trying not to bump the table or the video shakes. Libra. Okay, so these cards are saying that you're wanting change, you're wanting to take more control in your life. Doesn't mean you haven't had it, but I guess this is a time of empowerment with the Sun Pluto, and recognising the opportunities. So, we have moments where we feel a little bit like, no, things can be better, so that we can recognise the right thing when it comes up and actually take action on it, which is good, because Libras do sometimes take a while to make decisions, and it's like, it feels like you're not going to over this period of time, from what I can see. Anyway, we'll wait till I put more cards down. I normally get the indecisive card with Libra, trying to balance everything out. Okay, Libra, this is fantastic. Libras are going through a huge growth. They're going through a huge spiritual growth, major spiritual growth. So that's interesting. So Libra, it's saying that you've got connections around you already that are going to be really important to your future. Some of those connections you may not be around it. Well, say they're around you at the moment, meaning you've already made the connection. Maybe they've got to come in, maybe you've got to travel to connect. But there's some connections, some people or someone that you already know of. It's going to be either coming back into your life, or you're going to travel to connect with. So, or they're going to come into your life in a more powerful way than they have been. So that's around you at the moment. There is a decision for Libra to make decisions. It's in the near future, but you're going to make it real quick. It's good to see. So there's this decision, and it's like, yep, the decision means make a big change, moving away, moving from property, I think. And for some, it might be work change. But, anyone who's had an unproductive situation carrying on for a long time, and they feel like, oh, we can't carry on this way because I'm not going to move forward if I do, they're going to make an ending. And I feel like that's done pretty quickly with clarity, because they're frustrated, like they're over it. In fact, this often when you get the death card too, like that, it's like this. Often it's a situation's gone on for a long time. So we're not just saying a situation that's just come up and you've got to sort them out. It's like, no, this is something that you've been able to address in the past. You're going to be able to address it. You're going to be able to make the change, and it feels good when you do, because it's something you've been wanting to change for quite a while. So good to know that timing's coming up with clarity for Libra. Now, some Libras are, it's interesting, Libras are going through a major spiritual growth here, but for some, it feels like, for some that are sort of a bit confused by what's going on in the world, and they're a bit confused with just what's going on for them, I think. It's like you've got a deeper understanding coming in. I guess what I'm trying to say is that some Libras have been a bit stuck in past situations where they haven't let go of whether it's responsibilities with family, or whether it's just pattern situations. Because almost like it's like a situation of like an old marriage where you're still in contact with the ex because you feel responsible to do that, and you put up with stuff that you actually don't need to put up with, and none of it's necessary. So you don't have to. It's only in your mind that you think that this is a problem. So what I'm seeing here is that there's situation that's gone on for a long time. Again, it's sort of relative to the death card, but it's that you've wanted to change, but it just feels like you haven't been able to because it's just too hard. And it definitely has to do with people in your life, family, connections, the moon card. But it's like, the situation's been frustrating. It's like there's nothing you can have done about it. But the thing is that you also need to change your perspective on it, because I feel like part of the perspective is that you're too you're not making the changes, you're not seeing it in a different light, you're not seeing that you don't have to do some of these things. So yeah, hopefully that's helped some Libras. Now that's just in a position for some. Like I said, it won't be relevant for others. But it's also saying that for those that have really have had that and have been sick of this, you can change it. That's up to you. And it's sort of coming to a point where you can carry it on or you can change it. It's like Libra still wanting to play the nice guy, or is Libra going to do what's right for them? So Libra's also getting, when I was talking about this moon Pluto and this new passion, and it's like it's like this compulsive feeling of, this is what I'm here to do, this is what I want to learn about, this is all I want to hear about, no one else talk to me about anything else. That's not a Libra thing, it's actually a Scorpio thing, but it's like this energy is like, that moon Pluto is like that Scorpio energy of, I just I'm going to just fully absorb this particular area. And so Libra's finding their passion is where I'm coming with this. This moon Pluto is setting off some passion, where they're going to either be learning it, probably teaching themselves. They could actually go into studies if they're, some Libras will be taking on studies, because I can see legal paperwork here of, diplomas and things like that. But I also feel that for others it's more about just finding the information yourself and teaching yourself as well. I think that, Libra's lesson is balance, of course. Being a Libra, the people say to me, I thought Libras were meant to be balanced. It's like, we are, these are the lessons. Our sun sign is our lessons, the things we're here to learn, the things we're here to master. So, no, I think Scorpio might learn more about balance, and Scorpio needs to learn about balance before it becomes Scorpio, believe me. So it's got to go through that lesson of learning about balance before it steps into that. And for Libra, it's like, yeah, they do swing. Of course they swing. They're the scales, and they're either going to be this way or they're going to be that, or if they're going to find this, I don't know, obsession, and then it's that. Now Libra is actually esoterically ruled by by Uranus, which is why some Aquarians are more random. Some Libras are more random, if you like, or more eccentric than, and live an eccentric way than Aquarians do, that is actually traditionally ruled by Saturn, Aquarius. So, made perfect sense when I realised Libras were ruled by Uranus, and that they do like that sudden change. They can step into, I say they struggle with decisions, but they can not have a problem just changing their life around and moving forward. And it looks like you're coming up to that, Libra, where you're just sort of going to step into this next level. So again, for some Libras, it's a really strong time, psychic time for Libras. It's also a time when you're going to get to utilise a lot of your gifts and abilities and skills, and you'll be making decisions about that, about what especially with your career, what direction you want that to take, because you might have quite entrepreneurial side where you can do a little bit of this and you can do a little bit of that, but there's some area of expertise that you might be called upon where you could be asked to utilise your knowledge, and I feel like that could be a really cruisy situation for Libra. And Libra likes cruisy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're hard workers, but they do like to have their enjoyment as well. So for Libra, this looks like a very strong time to be healing any past stuff around family, around soul connections, and so I want to say around family, around friendships, and around relationships. Anything that hasn't worked out, any dramas, stresses, even any that have been through separational separation issues or are going through separation issues at the moment, this is a time where the family and the children are a focus. It's also a time where communication can open up. Even relative to ex-partners, things can open up more, so that it's sort of a smoother transition, especially for those that are affected by this. And I'm saying that just because of the cards you've got here, because, you know, Libra have needed to do something for themselves. There's some shift or change. They're going to be a lot happier in the future, but there's some things they're needing to do for themselves, and they need to do that in a way that they feel good about themselves doing that, and that they're feeling like they're not responsible. They're not taking on board all the emotional responsibility of how everyone else felt by their decisions. I feel like Libra, when I said you're going through real spiritual growth, you know, you've been through a lot of emotional tests, actually. You've gone through the strength energy. When you go through that strength energy, you know, this is when you question everything. Everything gets questioned about you and your whole belief in yourself. And it's like your whole perception of who you think you are to who you really are has probably been changing over a period of time. Where you're probably starting to see yourself in a true light. And it's like, the thing is that we tend to look at who we are to people. We're this to a certain person, we're mother to someone, we're partner to someone else, we're friend to someone. You know, these are the roles we have. This is sort of you understanding who you are and not in these roles, if you like, who you are as the individual and believing in yourself. But you can still be that partner, you can still be that friend, you can still be that father figure or mother figure. So I'm sorry, I feel like I'm fumbling a little bit, but it's because you've got a bit of a challenge here. I'm going to show you the cards. So you've got the Strength card here in the outcome. So this is great because it means that you've got through the hardest part. You've got through the challenge, through the insecurities, through the tests of the belief in oneself. And you know, you've got the transformational card. I don't think I've seen these three together before. You've got this Tower, where that's sort of been changing your whole ego understanding, because that's all it is, an understanding of who we are. It's like a story that we make up, if you like. And then you've got the Hangman, which is the humbling card. It's a card where we see who we truly are, and that we're just here to help. We're just here to make a difference in the world. So there's a real humanitarian and empathetic and connected side to this Hangman, saying you've been through tests, but this is making you, or has made you, a much better person, because you know you might have got out of control. I mean, I know how Libras can get out of control. Just kidding. But you know, this is like what pulls you back in and humbles you and allows you to be who your authentic self, where you don't feel like you're not in this, not role play, but you know, you're not having to be all these different things to everybody. So what I'm saying with this is that you've had your tests, you've had your changes, you've had your transformation, you're coming out a better person, you're coming out with better values, you're coming out with a much deeper understanding of who you are, and you're coming out with a feeling of you've released something that's been a real drag on you for quite a while. So this is a great time for Libra, because you know the other thing that you've got here that I haven't mentioned yet is that you've got a whole lot of new connections coming in, a whole lot of new friendships, and these friendships are going to be so in alignment with you that, you know, it's almost like they're going to be mind readers, meaning that you can connect in at that deeper level. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to impress anybody. You can just be like I said, your authentic self. That's what you're moving into. That's the new connections that are coming in. And, you know, if you're making bigger changes and things are falling apart for you, career, home, relationship, marriage, whatever, it's because of this too. It's because you're actually coming into soul connection. You've got this new connections around you. There's, like I said, connections to make, or ones that are around you that are going to get stronger. And you know, this is all about your soul connections. And for you to really commit, Libra, you know, it's not a favorite word of yours. You know, you're going through a transformation because this is the right person. This is the only person that you would do that with at this point in time in your life. So it looks really good. A lot of real productive growth. And, you know, I think I made it sound a bit hard on you guys, but it's been hard. What I'm trying to say here is it's actually getting better. It's improving. It's like when you come out of situations and you go, wow, I get that. And I fully see what all the benefits that have come from that, everything I've learned about myself. And I really see who I am now too, in a much clearer light. And I even like myself more, if you like, if you know what I mean. Because, you know, that's what you're coming into. You're coming into like things with ease, but where it's like we're tumultuous situations, we're needing to come to a head to clear so that you can move forward in a more productive way. So I hope you enjoyed that, Libra, and have a good day. Bye.